Good evening. Good evening. I have been out all day. I just got home, as you all know. Well, you don't know I just got home, but you know I've been out all day. Earlier, the lives kept cutting out because the weather was bad, so I just wanted to, wait till I got home to deal with all that you've seen today. Now, let me first say this. I am a leader in the church. I love God. I love the church. I have been in church all my life. But unfortunately, the most of my trauma, particularly as a child, as a younger person, is directly related and affiliated with those people down in Alcaloo. The people from whom I had to pull my mother and hoped to get my grandmother. So the deal is, in the background noise that y'all hear is my children. First of all of the friend requests and outpouring of support, of messages, of all of that, thank you so much. I can't thank you all enough for sending your love, sending your support for what my siblings and I have been through and other people are going through. I'm getting messages for people who I didn't even know had stories. There are those of us to whom grew up in that place, and we have all left, and some of us talk, and sometimes even when we get to talking, we begin enlightening each other of things that we did not know was taking place, even when you think you knew everything. So I don't know where to start. The beginning is too far away to start at, but the long story short, that whole project is a scam. I have never been this vocal as I'm going to be tonight. Someone is going to join me who also was a part of the whole thing, and so we'll see if I'm able to make this work the way that it works. We'll see if we can bring them on. And this is not about a smear campaign per se, as much as it is that people are suffering, namely my grandmother, and others have suffered, and people have died, and their loved ones don't know what happened to them because of this whole deal. Now, we came down, all of us for the most part are from New York. This started with the individual that's running it now, Dwayne Johnson. His father started the church, Bishop R.P. Johnson. He was an honorable man, the father was. He was nothing like this. It was a good thing. The church in New York, where we all came from, was a very positive, very empowering church. When you hear me talk about my pastor growing up, I'm talking about Bishop R.P. Johnson. I'm not referring to Dwayne Johnson at all, or any of those that are there with him. I'm calling names tonight because at this point I don't even care. They cannot sue me for telling the truth, and so whatever. He came down in 1994, and we, and one by one, other families came down with him. Us, my mother, and my sisters, and my brother and I came down in 1998. And when we came down, we were all over in Somerton, South Carolina originally. Started in Somerton, South Carolina. In 2003, he brought up all of this land in Alcaloo and started the Have Faith Community Development deal. And out of that, that's when all of it was always a controlling thing. There was always the physical abuse. I came here at 6 years old, and I can tell you, when I was there from 6 years old to 18, I was beat every year of my life. while I was there, as were the other young men. We have all been beat right in front of each other. We used to wait on each other to get the beatings. All of us as young people used to, and whenever a young person would get in trouble, we would clown each other about it. Hey, you got your beating yet? Typically, before the Alkalu days, you got it on Friday or on Sunday before church or after church, unless you did something that was just completely outrageous. I ran away from home one time, and he got on the road from Florida to come to South Carolina to my house when the police brought me home from running away. I was in the 5th grade. Martin Luther King Jr. Day of my 5th grade school year, I ran away from home, and he beat me for running away from home that particular day. And so if it was something really severe, he would come to the house. And I mean, I can go further than that. I can remember one time I grew up in the house with my godmother. My mother used to work night shift. And I remember my godmother, she'll tell you this, that she didn't read well. So part of my responsibilities was reading her mail to her. And this particular night, we were in her bedroom, which is on one side of the house, she and I, and my sisters and brothers were in the bedroom. They were on the other side of the house. And when I read the mail, I read some of the mail, and she said, let me go check on your brothers and sisters. And she left her broom to go around and check on them, and ran into him standing up in our dining room, listening, just quiet. We had accidentally left the door unlocked or something like that, and he came into the house and was just standing up there listening. Another time, we were in the house sitting at the table doing homework, and we heard a knock on the door. He comes in and essentially rehearsed to us everything that had been said in our house in the past 15 minutes, because he had been standing up outside the house looking. This was before the Alkalu days, before we all moved on his property. This was my godmother's house. This was her property. Nobody was, he was not invited, but this was the type of control and the type of mindset that he had. So fast forward to 2003, they start buying up all this land in Alkalu. The first building was the old Georgia Pacific building. They started doing all this stuff. You can go to the website, alkalu.org. They started doing all this promising of development and share it. Please share it. I want it to get out. I want them to know what I have to say. They know, but I've never been this open about it. And if you have any questions, you feel free to ask them, and I'll answer what I can. But this is where we get all of the half-faith stuff and all of the build-up and all of the, we're going to develop Alkalu, South Carolina. And then they opened that god-awful school. Now, when the school opened, the first year or so, not everybody was pulled. Those of us who were in high school remained at in high school. But everybody who was in middle school, in the church, everyone who was in the middle school and down was pulled out of school. And so my brother and my two sisters, and all of them spent most of their educational years in the Mother Geneva Johnson Academy. In the last year of school, I went from 10th grade to my 11th grade year. So between the 10th and 11th grade year, me and two others, it was three of us that were pulled from our school. Now, some people had options. I knew nothing about this until a week before school was supposed to begin. Nobody thought to tell me anything. Nobody thought, okay, Remy, so you said you remember going to the school. I'm sorry, I don't know your real name. And if you're not comfortable, don't share it on here. But I found out a week or so before school started that I was being pulled out of public schools so that we could so we could be the first graduating class. This is the first time you will ever hear me talk about graduating from you. Many of you will never have heard me talk about being affiliated with Have Faith. You will never have heard me talk about where I went to school. When people talk about those kinds of things, I tend to say that I was primarily educated in Manning schools, Clarendon County School District. Thank you, Apostle Dutton. And so we were pulled, and we became the first graduating class. They combined our 11th and 12th grade year so that we could make history, quote unquote. That might have been the first time. And the other thing is, so leaving there was always a big deal and a big conversation. Everything you've seen today is the norm. So many of you know church. It's 108 people watching right now. Many of you know church. And most of us, if you get ready to, I'm a pastor. I have people leave my church all the time. It's not, it's just something that happens. It's a part of what goes with church. Well, down there, you don't just get to leave. First of all, you live to serve the pleasure of Dwayne Joseph Johnson Jr. Andrew, I remember you. And if that's the case, I definitely remember I remember the fellas. I do remember you all. Okay, I got you. So sorry. And I don't know, I'm trying to figure out on this thing. I should have done this on my computer because I don't know how to bring people on as guests. I know you wanted to share your piece as well. I might have to end this and then go on my computer and do it because I don't see how to do it on my iPad. But so when no one ever just leaves. Anyone who ever left. Miss Peaches, you might be talking about the son if you graduated in about 2003 or something like that. 2006. No, 3. He graduated in 03 because I was supposed to graduate in 09. I wound up graduating in 08, a year early. But when I say Dwayne Johnson, I speak of the father to your family, Travis. Yes, Travis is my brother, and he's in Charleston. He was not up here today for all of the proceedings. So you don't just get to say, all right, I'm moving away, or I got a new job somewhere. Or anyone who leaves under the stigma of being excommunicated. That's the son. We'll talk about him in a little bit. And you're cursed. And this is not just when you leave. If you upset them, you're cursed. If something goes wrong, you're cursed. If you're born, for instance, my mother, the one that I went and got today, her and 2 other sisters in the church, our families were always the bottom of the totem pole. And so I remember, this was before the iPod days, I remember my mother worked a lot of temp jobs. My mother worked, Kiana is my sister, she's on there. My mother worked a lot of temp jobs, and so you know how a temp job works. Whenever you are done with the assignment or whenever they don't need you no more, they lay you off. All right? And so someone just tried to call me from her number. Her phone is turned back on. I bet it is. Because now they're trying to make it seem like I'm just making all of this up. But I think people have seen for themselves what today's events brought about. Now, my mother, we were in church, and I remember the preacher, Dwayne Johnson Sr., jumping, and anybody can get it in church if you catch him on a bad day, and they don't even got a bad day. If something happens and he don't like it, you become the target. He's gonna flip and rant and rave and act like he's crazy, and the man can't help himself. So some kind of way in church, the question about my mother's employment came up, and he said to her, and I'll never forget that, listen to me, people of God, I don't care if I live as long as God himself, there are some things I will never forget. There are things that I forgot and that come back to me. I dream frequently about these things. I just received a message today about someone else I'm a grown man, of course, but this individual was a grown man when I was a kid who got out, and that individual said that this individual is still having nightmares, and he's 20 years older than me. So how much more so for those of us who were kids, that when we just would smell his cologne, or when we would just sense it. He just had such a domineering presence over us and over everyone who was around him. And so my mother, we were in church, my mother's employment came up. And my mother had to stand up in front of the church and say she didn't have a job anymore. And he said, and I quote, "You have until Thursday to get a job, because if you don't have one by Thursday, I promise you I'm going to have you out in the field picking tomatoes under the hot sun with the Mexicans." And all I could go to school and think about was, is my mother going to find another job before Thursday? And so you have all of these things, and that was early 2000s, maybe late 90s. That was all of these years ago. And so what you all seen me going live about today was the culmination of just years. So I told you all I graduated from the school. He funneled all of us who graduated from the school to USC. He had some kind of a connection at USC where he was able to get all of us in. I didn't want to go to USC. I always wanted to teach. And back then they had what's called the Call Me Mr. program. Anyone who went to HBCU with a teacher wanting to be an educator could go on the Call Me Mr. program. Room and board, tuition, and everything was going to be paid for. So I wanted to go to Allen. I remember expressing to them that I wanted to go to Allen. And I remember his wife, "No, you're not going to no Allen. Nobody's going to any other school except USC." And so they funneled us all to USC and put us in townhouses. So let me help you all understand. They will brag about taking us on trips, which that's another conversation, but I won't get into all of that tonight. They could have kept their trips. I didn't have to go nowhere if I could have had a normal family. They could have left my behind in South Carolina, because the first of it all is, some of them trips, most of the time, the boys were not allowed to go on the trips because of the fact that we had got in trouble in school, and so they would take the girls. In many cases, the boys were left behind. And there are other people who can substantiate these things, because they're going to say I'm lying. I don't care at this point. It is what it is. But how were they able to pay for all those trips we went on? Okay, so Felders, by the time y'all came along, grant money. They used grant money, and they got in trouble with that grant because they misused a lot of that money. But even before the grant money, let's talk about the trips. I will not forget. Again, there are some things I won't forget if I live as long as God himself. My mother lost a W-2 form. I didn't even know what a W-2 form was. And, I mean, my mother was tearing the place up. So they cut Grandma's phone back on. Yeah, bless their hearts. Do they own a small business? Yes, the business is Kitty's Bounce House. And so that's their new thing. That's how they get money up now. But, so they take us on these trips. My mother couldn't afford those trips. I didn't know what a W-2 was, didn't know what income taxes was, any of that. And yes, the Paradise Food Trip. I didn't know what none of that was. So when my mother lost that W-2, my mother was stressed out trying to find it, asking us, did we take it? Did we do something with it? We didn't even know what it was. And so he came to the house that Sunday morning. He came limping in because he got a bad knee. And he said, Sister Ronnie, you're on my nerves so bad that my knee ain't even bothering me. You better find that W-2, and you better find it now. Because when them taxes come, those taxes are mine. Every year, I found out later, and he said this in church, every year he would take the full income tax check of my mother, and I know 2 other sisters. I don't know of anyone else. And that was how we reimbursed him for paying for us to go on those trips. But let's go back to one particular trip. 4th grade, I went on a cruise. My family and I went on a cruise. Yes. So, Zay Santana, everybody was afraid of Bishop. When he started coming around, I was like, why everybody scared of this man? Never realizing he was treating y'all and he said the S word. Yes, we were terrified of him. Everybody had to speak when he comes in the room. So when he walks in the room, at that time his title was elder. When he walks in the room, everybody says, "Hey, Elder Johnson," in unison, almost on one accord. And if you didn't speak, it was hell to pay. The other thing is, when he would pull up on Sunday morning, he wanted all of the brothers running out to his car to get his bag. Let's talk about the cars. So at one time they had a relationship with Hertz where they rented these cars. He had one, his wife had one. Eventually a couple of other people had one, but at this time him and his wife had one. It could be 20 degrees outside and we would be out there waxing those cars every morning. Rain, snow, shine, whatever. Us boys were the labor crew, cutting all of the grass, running at the. I was the roadie for his son's band, Soul Food Jazz. We were everybody lives to serve and please the Johnson family. That's all that organization is about. None of them work. Nobody in that family works. But yet they drive nice, swipe cards, dress well, do what they want to do, live like they want to live, have what they want to have, at the expense of everybody else over there. So, why this from me? When I went to college at USC, I got kicked out after a year. I'm not going to put that on them. I won't say that was their fault. I'll take the fault. That was on me. I got kicked out of college, some of it. Now, I can tell you some things that they did too, but I won't put that on them. When I got kicked out of college, it was so bad for me. I'm sorry, Sandy Jackson asked a question, and Carol Abraham, this sounds like the series Ruthless. I've never watched that series because I seen a trailer and I was incredibly triggered. So I don't know much about Ruthless other than the trailer, but from what I got from the trailer, yes. Alcaloo, South Carolina, Half Faith was going on long before Tyler Perry put his pen to the paper. We lived Ruthless. And they know how to make people disappear. There's a young lady there now whose name was changed when her mother died. And there's a whole story. There's a whole story as to that whole thing. We have people who he tried to get them to give their children to him to let him bring them up. Okay, Kiana, thank you. My sister is answering the questions that I don't get to. And if I don't answer a question, or if my sister don't answer one, just feel free to, put it in again, because it's 158 of y'all on here. So when I got kicked out of college, I'll never forget the assistant pastor, the same guy who owns the bounce house business now, and I could talk about that too, and some of the scandalous things he did to get the money up to get that bounce house business, things that he told me out his own mouth. But he came and at that time took me under his wing, because we had my mother and my sisters and my brother and I moved to Alcaloo with everybody else because my godmother left the church, and so we were moved out of her house, and she was excommunicated, and they moved us to Alcaloo. And so me and him, the assistant pastor, the one that owns the bounce house business, his name is Tyrone Brusford. He took me under Tyrone Brusford Sr. He took me under his wing. And so when I got kicked out of college, he was like, "Oh, you got to redeem yourself. You got to redeem yourself." See, Elder Johnson, it's not that he don't like you. You just hurt him. Okay, so you see this young man saying, Elder Brayford yoked me up as a kid in that after-school program. Elder Brayford lived in the house with my godmother and us at one time when he was in the military. And when he would come back, he would ask, what did we do that was wrong? We had to confess our faults. And then he would put us through rigorous military exercises, push-ups, crab legs behind the car. Like he's driving the car, and he would make us get down and crawl behind the car, act like he's going to let us in the car, and then hit the gas and pull off. One time I stole some candy from the store. He went and sawed off a limb. I don't have anything to show you how thick it was, and was beating me. with the lint, with the stick, and I'll never forget the way he bruised up my legs, and then he hit me across my wrist, and my hand flipped back, and I jumped up and I was like, my hand, but then whatever happened, it sprung back forth. He took the stick, hit me across my shoulder, and said, "See, you're lying again." These people want to act like they're just so godly and act like and to this day, I had a face-to-face conversation with Dwayne Johnson Sr. in 2021, maybe. October of 2021, yeah. And he looked me in my face and said there were no beatings. We'll talk about the beatings in a minute because I can tell you specifically about one, but I can tell you about many. I can tell you about much more than one. My daughter was enrolled in their summer program 1 year after getting expelled. She would fight often while she was a student there. She would ask, "Why would you send me there?" And as she became older, she informed me that she felt like they were weird and off. Everybody gets those vibes. And yes, in regards to Tyrone Brailsford Sr., he did not do very well by Tyrone Brailsford Jr. at all. That's very true. My sister, okay, so my other sister, Siobhan, has entered the chat. I remember the military punishment, and I remember the first time it ever happened. I thought it was a joke. So I kept laughing, because there was no way you were asking, I was in 4th grade at the time. There's no way you're asking at 6th grade. My baby, this sister that just commented was in 4th grade. But having us put our arms up like this for hours and having us do squats and lean up against the wall. And I remember sometimes when he would have us going through these regimens that I would feel my body getting so fatigued and worn out. But if you fell, you get a beating. So we have I was talking about getting kicked out of school. I got kicked out of school. He says, "You got to redeem yourself." And I literally became a slave for Half Faith Community Development Corporation. Cutting grass, trying to redeem myself. Washing cars, trying to redeem myself. Running up to that god-awful restaurant that they had, trying to redeem myself. And all you wanted was for Ella Johnson to be pleased with you. All you wanted was for him to be okay with you, to make him happy. And nothing, for me, ever worked. I remember one time we were in church, his son was not there for whatever reason. He was out this Friday. And I would be in charge of the recording because he put the recordings on, we recorded services on CD at the time. And so the CD has 80 minutes or so, and then you got to change it. So about 70 minutes into this recording or so, I went to check it, and it wasn't done yet, so I came back out and sat down. And just out of the clear blue sky, he says, "And look at you. I bet you forgot to record, didn't you?" Well, bless God, this time I was actually not in the wrong. So he felt a little embarrassed. He was like, "Oh, well, just tell me I'm wrong." Now, first of all, you don't tell Dwayne Johnson Sr., and you don't really fool up with the junior that much either. You don't tell them they're wrong. Because even if they're right, even if they're wrong, they're right. Nobody can stand up against them. Nobody can say anything to them. Nobody can do anything about whatever it is they're saying, because the problem is God is telling them everything. And you can't fight. The restaurant is closed. It used to be called the Piece of Paradise Cafe. I understand that it's now a food truck. Bless your dear hearts. I would never spend a dime with them. But you enjoy. But anything could trigger a session. We'll call them that. I remember one time I used to have this. They probably won't be able to see it because they all blocked me. Jared is no longer there. He's gone. But Whitney, she didn't block me because she be in my story looking at stuff all the time, but we're not friends. Valina, I'm blocked, I believe. Joshua, I'm not blocked, but tag them because they should have known this was coming. Dwayne Jr., my classmate. Now this is all making sense. None of this surprise. He is the most chauvinistic embarrassment ever created. Dwayne Johnson Jr. is every bit of his father. And for no reason at all. Yes, this is the church with the bounce houses on 521. And so anything could trigger these sessions. And the fact of the matter is, listen, I could really talk about this all night. I have 30 years worth of stories, worth of foolishness. Even after I left in 2009. It didn't end then. I didn't have to deal with the abuse because I was not there anymore. But so I told you I graduated from their school. The first time that I ever got ready to sue them, he got handed a wife that was supposed to be his sister. That's Dwayne Johnson Jr. And so let's go there, and then I'll go to the graduation. So that girl's mother died. And Dwayne Johnson Sr. brought the girl into his house as his adopted daughter. This was I left at 2010, so this may have been around, I left in 2009. And so December 23rd, 2009 is the day I left. So 2010, 2011, this girl's mother died. Fast forward, say about another 3 or 4 years or so, about 3 or 4 years, at 19 years old, they went on a cruise, and that young man, the son, said the Lord told him that this girl was supposed to be his wife. And they had changed her name to keep her family from finding her. Her name was DeQuanda Galashaw. My understanding now is that it's Aaliyah Geneva Johnson. And Jared, how are you doing? Welcome to the conversation. We're talking about horrors of Alkaloo if you want to be a part of it. I don't know how to bring people on as a guest. I can't do that on my iPad. But Jared is another one of those who was a part of it, and he left as well. I think he's in Philadelphia somewhere. But the girl. Now, first of all, he married this girl that was supposed to be his sister, but this was after he ran through most of the other girls in the church. Hey, was you able to leave on your own free will, or did you have to escape? I ran away, 1 o'clock in the morning, December 23rd. We went on a church trip to Washington, D.C., and the whole trip was terrible. I knew I was leaving, but I did not want to leave. Good Lord. Dwayne Johnson prayed on DeQuanda. Bishop told me that she had AIDS and for me to not talk to her. Mind you, we were like 13 and 14 years old. Dwayne was like 30-something. Yeah, he's 10 years older than her. Down the line, all of a sudden they get married and have babies. But you had this lady as your adopted daughter. That's... So he's sleeping with his sister. It's not his actual sister. The pastor just adopted her and moved her in his home. Maybe he moved her in his home. Jasmine, how are you doing? Bless you. Maybe he moved her in his home to give his son a wife. I don't know. But what was I talking about? Lord, I'm losing track. In any case, I don't remember what I was talking. Oh, did I leave? 1 o'clock in the morning, the bus parked at 12. I got off the bus. I knew I was leaving. As a matter of fact, that trip was the worst trip. I went because of the fact that I was the roadie for the band, and there was supposed to be a concert, and I didn't want to let Dwayne Johnson Jr. down. And so Jared is playing semi-pro football. He's doing all right for himself. So I went on the trip. It wound up being a blizzard. The concert didn't even happen. But what they did do to try and get some money up was they got a store to let him come and play. And I'll never forget, this is what made me know. I knew I was leaving after the trip, but I knew after this moment that I just had all that I could take. We were in the store, and the father took some money out of his pocket and gave me the money and said, here, go get his saxophone case, put it in there, and put this money in there, and do me a favor. Try not to look stupid doing it. And so I went and got the saxophone case, opened it up, put the money in, and whatever. So we're on the bus coming back, and I am just waiting on that bus to park and just trying to focus on the fact that I'm leaving. So at 12 o'clock, the bus parked. We got off the bus, got unloaded. I went home, and I went to my mother's house, because I didn't live with my mother. They had me staying in the veteran's house, keeping a veteran that they were manipulating, who social services had to also come and get out. The social services in the VA, they got him out. That's my godmother's brother. So I told my mother, I said, I'm leaving. This was December, well, that would have been December 22nd, 2009. I said, I'm leaving, and I said, I can't stay here, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm leaving now. And hold on a minute. Who is Trap O'Brien? Trap O'Brien, nigga, just shut up and listen to. Okay, so first of all, I don't know you, sir. And so it took you years to understand this was wrong. First of all, I've been gone for years, sir. I knew when I was a kid. You clearly have not been listening to the conversation. It's other people who didn't know it was wrong. And I won't even say, I won't say they didn't know it was wrong. If you've not ever been in a situation where someone is controlling you, you won't understand the fullness. I am me, I am him. I don't know you, that's what I'm saying. And if this is bothering you this much, you need to get off. I'm not talking to you. Because at the end of the day, I didn't just leave, I just went and got my mother. I've been talking about how wrong it is. So I'm going to need you to pull that back. Now, and I'm going to block you if you keep that up, because I don't know you. And if you're any of them, have faith. Look, go find something to do with yourself, because I'll talk to y'all in a minute. But nobody being soft, I'm just telling the story. And you sound like a dummy. No, it's not Green Hill Have Faith Community Development Corporation in Alcaloo. Well, y'all seem to be handling Trap O'Brien, so I'll just ignore him. Yes, we were kids. So, I told my mother I was leaving. I had a black bag, and I had a rolling book bag. The black bag, Jared, someone bring me my computer. I'm going to see if I can pull this up on my computer so I can bring on guests. Call them, oh, good Lord. Y'all don't, I'm church. Please don't cuss at him too much. I can't block him. We'll deal with it when we get off. He's all right. He's all right. He's lightweight compared to who's going to come talking. Yeah, bring me the computer. If I click off of this and restart the live, get on the other one, and then I can bring on guests, because my iPad is not going to let me do it. So I'll finish off with how did I leave. I left my mother's house with the black bag and the rolling book bag. The black bag. Trap O'Brien, I'm about to deal with you in just another second. You just give me about 1 second. When this computer comes up, I promise you, you won't even be able to see this stream or nothing else, because you're an ignorant person. The black bag was full of clothes that didn't quite fit. And the book bag, I've always been a geek, and so it's full of books. And I ran across the field, that same field where the lighthouse is, and you're married, Trap O'Brien. Seems like to me, if you're married, you might have children. Seeing as there's a possibility that you might have a family. What, nigga, you on here? Talking about nobody want to hear it. Get off, but I'm about to solve that problem for you. I'm about to solve that problem for you, because you kind of stupid. You got to be a dummy. Let me figure out how to get you. We're going to solve your problem. We're going to solve your problem, because you don't got it, and you done made me say something that I don't need to say. Nobody want to hear this BS. Get off! Apparently 236 or 235 other people do want to hear it. Forgive me. Now, I ran across the field to the ride that was waiting on me, and that's how I got out. I had to leave in the middle of the night. Most of us who left ran away. Nobody just goes to the pastor Try me, kid, like this. I'm going to smoke you and the pastor. I got good life insurance, sir. That don't bother me. That don't bother me at all. And if I can figure out how to block you, you be gone. I'm on your page, but I can't figure out how to block you right now, and I'm not going to focus on you. Yes, I ran away. I ran away and got out of there. Figure out how to block him, get him off of there. And so that's how I got out. My brother, on the other hand, woke up 3 o'clock in the morning and walked from Alcaloo, South Carolina to the Sumter Walmart. And y'all stupid, man. Yeah.
Kim said don't give him no more attention because he losing focus and he's not supporting.
The idea is, okay. Thank you. Thank you. He's gone. Trap O'Brien is gone, y'all. So I ran away and I came to Florence with my great grandmother, and that's how I got out. I left in 2009. I've been gone for 16 years. My brother came 6 months after me. My sister came about a year or two after that. My youngest sister, and then the older sister. We just went and picked her up. And that's how we all got out. So I'm going to start another live. No, I don't think it's gonna let me do that. Can I do that? Can I do it that way? If I go on my page and go, because there are a few people that want to come on and tell their own. No. As a moderator, you can make changes to this video. I don't think it'll let me take control on the computer. All right, so listen, I'm going to stop this one, and I'm going to start it again. And I'm going to do it from my computer so that I can bring on those to whom want to talk if they want to. All right? So I'm going to get off of here, and I'm getting on my computer.